Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another show of CodeTap. I'm your host, Marian, and today we'll be doing some refactoring. I'll be showing you some cool stuff on how to name colors properly. So with that said, we are building our online resume, and for those ones that are new over here, let me show you where you can find everything that is related to this project and all the videos that are free of CodeTap. So you go on youtube.com/CodeTap/playlists, and you can find all the content nicely organized in playlists. So you can go on any playlist and watch all the movies in sequence. Our current one is called Your Resume Online for free using HTML5 and CSS3. So this one contains all the videos related to this project from scratch, and I've also separated and created separated playlists. One would be for landing page, the other one would be for the About Me section, and so on for the awards and the rest of the sections. So it will be easier for you to navigate. With that said, let's get back to our code, and today we'll be starting the award section and do some refactoring, which means improve the quality of our code or make it look nicer or better. Okay, so firstly we want to create the pag and SCSS files and link them to the project. So in our project, in the component directory, we create another folder and we name it award. And in this award, we right click, choose new file and say award.pag, and we create another one, award.scss. Okay, in here let's style the award ID to be red, of color red, and in the award pag let's make a div with the ID award and the text as test. So right now, if we go into our thank you, let me start over. That's nice. Okay, so basically you haven't seen anything since I've started. Sorry for that. Okay, so in our agenda to do, we have we want to start the award section and refactor it, and those are our tasks for today. All I've done so far, I've created an award folder inside the component, and inside this I created the award pag file and the award SCSS file. In here we have a div with the ID award test, and in here we style that award with the color of red. So right now, if we switch to our project, we can't see anything below those buttons. So that means we want to link them into our project. Over here we say include award, and this should bring the text in. So if we scroll a bit down, we can see the test, and it's not styled, so that means we go into our main style SCSS and we say import component award/award. Okay, and now if we look at our test, it's also in color red. So that means that the award pag and award CSS are properly linked. Let's delete this as we won't need it, and the content of this. Let's make another div with the class of award. Okay, and also move the camera down. Okay, so in here let's look into our agenda to do and mark this as done. We want to create an award header add some content to it, and style it with the color of B2 and so on. We'll come back in a second to it. So let's create the word header and add some content to it. Actually, let's make it a bit nicer. Initialize a variable, my header, or a word header, and the value of it would be words. And let's add this value over here. So right now, if we switch, we can see that we have a words printed out. And let's go into the about me and just copy this part over here and paste it in the word SCSS. Okay, and we want to style the word header. We can select all of this and use Alt to move it up, Alt and up arrow, and save it. The color of white will make it not that visible. So in our agenda to do, we want to style it with this color. So later on, when we will be adding a background to this section, this will be easier to read. Let's go into the agenda to do and mark this as done. And now we want to refactor the header CSS into reusable code. That means if we want to modify all the headers, this one and this one, and we want to modify the body of them that is common, at the moment we need to go into each of them and modify it, and all we want to do is go into only a single place, update that, and all the headers in the website should be updated. So to do that, let's go into the word CSS, grab this common thing which is common to the about me CSS, this part over here, and let's go into component and create a new folder and name it config. Apparently we already have one, so let's make here a new file, common.scss, and in here we can start with the percentage sign, and like we would do a class name, so we do it with percentage. This makes it available in SASS, however it won't be printed into the SCSS file unless it's used somewhere. We'll talk about how to use it in just a moment. So we want to make this not class name but header, and paste the content in. So right now this header is present in common SCSS, and if we go into style SCSS and import it somewhere over here, that means that the style SCSS will have access to our common SCSS and to this header that's present in it. So now let's go back to words. So this is the current style so far, and this is how it looks in the browser. Okay, so if we remove this part over here and save it, in the browser we'll see that now it became smaller and with less padding and so on. So if we say extend header, we can see that this went back to its original styling. So we can do the same for the about me SCSS. Let's remove this part over here. And if we look at the about me, now it's only white. So if we say extend header, save it, we can see that the about me is back to normal. So let's go into the agenda to do and mark this is done. So let's quickly see how this works. So we have the about me, and if we go into our common and say font size 6 Arial, we can see that this is bigger and this is bigger as well. So with only one change, we modified both headers. That's how you use reusable code in SASS, one of the ways at least. Okay, so now let's have some fun with the colors. This would be a new one for most of you, so let's hope you like it. At the moment, if we look into the Word CSS, we can see this color over here. And this color later on would be used in more places. So let's do something similar to the refactoring that we've just done. Let's move this color into a variable, and once we change that variable, the value of that variable in a common place, it will change across all the usages of this variable across the website. So inside the component, inside the config, let's make a new file, color.scss. So there are multiple ways of doing this. One would be to declare it like this, color1, and the value of it, and we also want to make this colors SCSS file, the contents of it available to all the other files. So in order to do this, we go to the style SCSS, Alt Shift down arrow, and do color. And now we save it, and it's available to the other files too. Okay, so in a word we can say color let's hope I typed it right. So config color, yeah, it's color1. Okay, let's check it. Now let's go back to color, and just for the moment we create a copy of it. We comment this out, and let's make this red. Okay, so we see that the color has been changed. We changed it in the color SCSS, and this color one was used into the Word one, and that has been updated. Now let's undo our change. Let's make the first color and available. Okay, right now, if we want to add more colors, let's do that for a second. And name is color2, color3, and color4, and just do something over here like that. And so if we are to do the colors like this, whenever we'll be using them in our code, it's not very clear which color is which. For example, you wouldn't know by default that color free would be a pink one unless you go and look for it and see its value and see it in a color picker. So in order to fix this, or at least to make it a bit more easy to use, let's open Google and type in the Google name that color, and there is this website over here, cr.ag whatever. So this weird name over here, just click on it. Let me zoom this a bit for you to see. Okay, so I'm talking about this website, chir.ag and so on. Let's click on it, and grab our color, which is this one, and paste it inside here. So now we can see that the name of this color that, let's say, artists or people of art use would be periwinkle gray. I like to use all lowercase and add the color in front of it. So now we have color periwinkle gray, which to us or to some other people would already say something, would already send a message, would be, this is a gray color. Let's save this one. Thank you, Sergio. So in the Word, we have an error right now because we are expecting for color 1. So let's update this one to the new naming. Color periwinkle gray. The error went away because this compiled successfully, which means in our browser, which is this one, it went back to the original one. So now let's do the same for all the other ones quickly. Let's do some exercise. So in the About Me SCSS, let's take this color white. So I selected starting from the colon and towards the white end of the white. The reason for this is just to make sure that it's unique enough. And when I'm pressing Ctrl D to find all the occurrences, I'm pressing right arrow, Ctrl Shift, left arrow, and now I have selected all the whites from a color, not all the whites from any other name. So all I want to do right now is say color white, which this one doesn't yet exist. So if we save it, we'll get an error in the compiler, and soon we'll fix that. If we go into colors and say color white is FFF, or 6 of them, it's one and the same, and save it. It compiled successfully, and now in our browser we have whites wherever we had before. Let me quickly show you how this could change. So F0F, it should be a pink. So let's say if we want to update the value of the color white to a pink one all over the website, you can see that everywhere that we use the white color, now it's pink. Apart from this side, which I'm not sure why it's not. Let's quickly look into it. Okay, the About Me. Link looks fine, so must come from some other place. Well, Karael, SCSS, it's a superset of CSS, so it's like Red Bull for a party. If you go to a party and start dancing and you're a bit stiff and can't move properly, you drink a Red Bull and suddenly you start busting some moves. That's the same for SASS and CSS. CSS doesn't have variables, doesn't know how to give you the power to compile all the CSS content into one file, so it saves requests to the server and so many other ones. It's quite easily, if you look for SASS language, you can find more about it. So you go on sasslang.com and it's not much to read. You can install it, you can find more about it and actually learn it in a few hours or even less. It takes more practice to master it, but it's not that much that it offers. It's enough to save some headaches that you usually had with CSS. That was a great feedback. Thank you. So now let's go back to this one. I was inspecting this element to see where does the white color come from. I think it comes from the label. Okay, so where does this one come in? Okay, it might come from some other place in the project where we haven't updated our... Okay, so that's the pug and this is the SASS file. So over here we can say color white, and now this one is pink too. And let's undo for a second and do it everywhere. So now almost everything is white here. Yeah, so the new color is pink now because we've updated it across the website. And if we go into our colors CSS and revert this back to white, everything in the website is updated. Let's go back to our agenda to do. Refactor colors into a config file and use nice variables. We're almost done with this one. Let me make sure that you got how this works. So into about me, we have this color over here, which is present in two places. Let's copy it, go to name that color, paste it inside, and the name of it is Gumbo. So if we go into colors and do color-gumbo, and then update it inside here. It's back to normal. However, it's using the color-gumbo. And let's see if we find any more colors that we missed. We won't be doing this one as it has a transparency. However, there is another one over here. This looks like a terracotta or something similar. Yeah, terracotta. So into colors, I'll duplicate this line, double click, paste, copy this terracotta from over here, double click, paste, and change the T to a lowercase. And now inside here, color-terracotta. So in case I've missed anything, I'll double check later on. There's another one. Okay, let's do this one too. Paste it in Geraldine. Go back to our editor. Duplicate this line. Double click in here. Paste it. Select this text. Go back to our project. Double click. Paste. Lower G. Copy this, Control Tab, in here, let's hope we find more of them, color-geraldine, and everything looks nicer now. Everything is back to normal. However, we've refactored it to use the colors from a config file we've created. The colors have a nicer name. Some designers and some other people might understand them way more easily. And we've also created a common file where we can put code that repeats in different places. It's common to different aspects of the web page, and reuse it. That was it for today. It was a quick one. Now it's time for questions and answers. questions and answers. So if you have any, drop them in the comment. You're welcome, Karel. Meanwhile, while I'll be waiting a couple of minutes to see if anybody else is commenting and asking questions. I'll be talking about the free killer resume. So this resume is an evolution of years of work and research, and it started with me looking for a job and applying with my resume, and I had basically no calls back then. So I started improving my CV, and I started to get 1 calls a week, 3 calls a week, and so on, until in years I got to getting like 30, 50 calls a day once I start looking for a job. So it's an evolution, and the very first step is to go on this page, which is freekillerresume.codetap.io. I'll copy it and paste it in my editor and make it a bit bigger so you can easily see it. So it's free-killer-resume.codetap.io. It also has the story of how it started, the first month, how I evolved with it, and so on. All you have to do is fill in this form, and you'll receive an email with a download link. Once you get your free resume template, all you have to do is update it with your own content. All my students that I worked with them, at some point, sooner or later, got to use this CV, and it really helped them. Most of them improved their callback or their calls through this CV. Right now we worked on refactoring some of the code, and we started the Word section, and the final CV looks like this one. So let me resize it to look like on a mobile. So our final CV has this section, which is the landing page, the About Me, the Word section, which you'll get to work on in the next live video. Then it has some skills section. It has an experience where you can expand and collapse your experience. I want to remind you that this is a pure HTML and CSS, so it doesn't use any JavaScript at all, on the client side at least. And then recent clients and the menu, which you can use to jump up and down the website. On top of that, there is also a bonus. So if we copy this address that I have online and go on Google for Google page speed, there is this page speed insights, and I'll paste the URL in and say analyze. So basically Google gives a perfect score, 100 of 100 for the mobile version and 100 of 100 for the desktop version. You can get to a perfect score too, or you can get to a nearly perfect score, like 90 plus score, just by following these tutorials, nothing else. It's full of techniques, best techniques to use, best approaches, so Google likes it very much. Hey Sharon, well, if you're a beginner, I'm not sure how beginner you are. However, I was talking about CodeTap playlists. Let me paste this into. So it's youtube.com/codetap/playlists. If you're a beginner, you don't know anything about coding, I suggest you start with Everyone Can Code the beginning and before we start coding. so you get a brief feeling about what a web page is, how it works and so on, what HTML, CSS and other technologies related to this, how they come together. And as soon as you understand a bit of how HTML and CSS works in JavaScript and apps and web pages and so on, I would suggest to go to do the Learn to Code Like a Pro for Beginners playlist, and then soon after that you can follow with your resume online, as those ones are already websites that are that can be public. You can show them off to recruiters, you can show them off to your friends and family and so on. So you start building websites and learn while you do it. This is the approach of CodeTap. So if you need any more help, Sharon, I would suggest to start watching those videos. And if you learn something new or you get stuck, just drop a comment, and me or some of my students will be happy to help you out as soon as we can. You're welcome, mate. Okay, be waiting a couple of more minutes. If no more questions arise, I'll be wrapping this up, and I'll see you next time tomorrow, almost the same time. I think it will be 10 o'clock UK time. Where are you from, guys, by the way? You can drop a comment with the place where you are. I'll start with that. The weather has been very nice lately. We haven't seen snow in London for many years, and my son is almost 6 years old, and he got to play with snow in London for his first time. Well, I'll wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching CodeTap. Happy coding, create something awesome, and I'll see you soon.